Let's move on now as Pakistan continues to breach the ceasefire pact and target civilians along the LOC and international border in Jammu and Kashmir. Public anger is mounting. This after Pakistan troopers shelled civilians in Samba, injuring a toddler, Pari, and killing many of her family members. Scores of BJP workers assembled in the state's winter capital and shouted slogans against Pakistan. The protesters asked the government to launch an offensive against Pakistan. The BJP workers also set the Pakistan flag ablaze. Protests have mounted against the repeated ceasefire violations from the other side.
So I think the result of all these has been that there is greater uncertainty and tensions across the border.
पाकिस्तान पूरी दुनिया में उसका चेहरा जो है एक्सपोज हुआ है और वो बुखलाया हुआ है. आज उसके अंदर की प्रॉब्लम है. आज वहाँ की पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी है. प्राइम मिनिस्टर उनके जो है करप्शन केसेस में है. आर्मी का वर्चस्व बढ़ गया है.
Kamaljeet Kaur Sandhu is now joining us with the very latest on the protests going on in Jammu. Kamal, you know, after the grievous injuries received by Pari, the toddler, in the ceasefire violations and, the death of some of her family members, the anger only seems to be mounting. But help us understand the strategy as far as securing the civilians goes.
Maha, anger is obviously feeding over Pakistani troops aiming and targeting civilian areas. Now remember, the largest number of casualties has happened yesterday, where 8 civilians were killed and at least 2 dozen were wounded.
Yes.
What we've also known from our sources is there has been a movement from the administration as well as the authorities to move a civilian area. This was a concern of the BSF. It was conveyed to the civilian areas as well, that there should be movement. And remember, some of these villages who were during daytime going back to villages and only at night were moving towards shelter homes were forced to move out of their homes. So yes, tensions remain, and even though since 3:30 in the evening yesterday to just about today, there has been no firing, but this just could be a lull before the storm. Pakistan being extremely unpredictable, there is firing not just at areas where there was never firing earlier, to areas where there is escalation as far as tensions are concerned, as far as violations are concerned. So yes, all this is going to be a part of matter.
Yes.
But remember, there have been high level of meetings, not just in Jammu, but also in Delhi. Rajnath Singh taking meetings, the Home Minister joining in, the Home Minister himself is going to Uri today, going to the forward areas. So yes, there is a pressure on the government, especially post the surgical strike on the 29th September, that more needs to be done as far as facilities. We've also been told by our sources that a clear instruction has been given to both the BSF and the army that their befitting reply should be given, that as far as hinterland is concerned, there should be more proactive encounters, that perhaps more needs to be done on the ground, but definitely as far as the state and the central government standing firmly behind the forces.
Kamal, the LOC was already hot, but now we are seeing tensions escalate on the international border as well. How is this being read?
Well, remember, post the surgical strike, Pakistan behaving completely unpredictable, and that is why we've seen there has been a response from the BSF at the international border. At the LOC, we know BSF and army have been deployed. They've been continuously, there have been infiltration bids, whether we're talking about 19th or for that matter on the Diwali night itself. The thermal images clearly nailing Pakistan's lie. There is a continuous movement from their side, not just firing, but also infiltration bids. We've seen protests and obviously anger within villages at the civilian areas near the international border. And now today we know that Kavinder Gupta, the MLA as well as the Speaker of BJP, he's lodged a protest, and he's obviously, there is a demand that the government should not only provide facilities, but more should be done both for the armed forces as well as for the paramilitary, including the BSF.
All right, Junaid Mattu is now joining us on the phone line. Sir, first of all, I want your reactions on the kind of protests that we're now seeing because of the civilian deaths. Do you think that this is going to put more pressure on the security forces to retaliate in equal measure? They've already been doing that, but the fact that civilians and 8 of them being killed in 6 hours is very serious.
You see, BJP is a conglomerate of hypocrisy and shamelessness. Have they forgotten that they are a part of the government, both in the state and the centre? And please allow me some amount of disgust in saying that there was absolutely no protest from BJP when nearly 95 kids lost their lives. This is very tragic. The 8 civilians we have lost, these are our kith and kin. But so are the 95 children. So BJP is, I mean, the less you
so
talk
you're
about that, the better.
dismissing the protest today as hypocrisy.
It's not only hypocrisy. It's a communal party with a vote bank politics. I mean, they want to, churn up this nationalistic debate, who's a patriot, who's not a patriot. Those 8 people who died on the LOC were citizens of this country. The 95 children who died in Kashmir were also citizens of this country. And then, we have the courage of our conviction to say that these cowards don't. What is happening on the LOC and the international border is extremely sad and tragic. Our people are losing their lives, and this should stop. The people of Jammu and Kashmir have suffered enough. The BJP, instead of, enacting these theatrical performances on streets, should realize that their foreign policy, their domestic policy vis-a-vis Kashmir has been a complete and utter failure, and they are primarily responsible. Why are the culprits behaving like the victims?
So, Mr. Mattu, you do not feel that, Pakistan is itself trying to escalate tension, perhaps because of the goings on within Pakistan itself?
That's a different debate. Pakistan will always try to, exact its piece of revenge and try to get something out of the strife in the valley. That's no surprise. They will always do that. But had the BJP government at the center and the PDP-BJP government at the state got its act together and not allowed this situation to spiral out of control, Pakistan would have no opportunity to meddle into this situation.
So what do you think should be done at the moment when we are seeing civilians clearly being targeted by the other side?
There needs to be de-escalation on the border. This chest-thumping machoism needs to stop. That, they'll fire 120 mm artillery, we'll fire 140. Because people die. 120 or 140 mm people die on both sides. This is a state which has lost nearly 100,000 people. This is not any other state. Every single life that is lost is unfortunate. The chest thumping in New Delhi, the chest thumping in Kashmir, these protests will not help us. There should be an immediate de-escalation on the border. And yes, there is animosity and hostility between India and Pakistan, and that is precisely why they should engage with each other. Our people are not cannon fodder. The people of Jammu and Kashmir are not cannon fodder. If these two countries can't get their act together, we should not have to pay the consequences of that.
All right, Junaid Mattu there, many thanks for speaking with India Today. Now let's bring you the story of the toddler who's been grievously injured in Pakistani shelling. Pari celebrated her first birthday barely 2 months ago, and today she lies unconscious on a hospital bed in Jammu. 4 of Pari's relatives were killed in Pakistani shelling, including 2 cousins, her aunt and her grandfather. She is recovering from grievous neck injuries and may need a surgery as well. Pari and her family were victims of Pakistan's most aggressive border assault that claimed 8 civilians and injured at least 20 others. Ashwini Kumar travelled to the villages along the international border where the locals continue to live in fear.
Innocent Indian citizens paying the price for Pakistan's border backstabbing. Aiming directly at houses, local shepherds and even women and children. Pakistan's thirst for Indian blood knows no bounds. Little Pari was injured in Pak shelling as the family was celebrating Bhai Dooj in Samba's Rangarur village, while her father Rakesh and mother were injured along with other family members. As Pakistan continues to breach the ceasefire in at least 5 sectors of Jammu and Kashmir, locals in the border villages are cowering in fear.
खोलिया जैसे मुई नट्टी दा बोगर मंजी ने 2 ही द्रोड़ियां दा बस उते गोले दो बागा भी दा पीछे भी उते खत्म होई जरी है।
India Today was the first channel to reach the heart of the areas ravaged by relentless Pakistan shelling. In Rajouri, where 2 women fell prey to Pakistani firing on Tuesday, villagers are panic-stricken. Death stares them straight in the face from across the border.
हम बहुत परेशान हैं। पाकिस्तान से बहुत ज़्यादा गोले आ रहे हैं, बहुत ज़बरदस्त गोले आ रहे हैं। हमारी कोई परेशानी इतनी है कि पूछो मत।
हमने सेफ लोकेशंस पे कैंप्स कायम किए हुए हैं और उनके वहाँ पे सभी जो मिनिमम बेसिक फैसिलिटीज़ हैं वहाँ प्रोवाइड की जाएंगी। At present, the heavy firing is going on in Jangad area, Ser, Makdi, Nam, Khaladi villages which are ahead of fence. Heavy shelling is going on.
We are integral part of the country. इसमें कोई दो राय है ही नहीं हमारी, और बावजूद इसके हम मारे जा रहे हैं। इसमें तो हमारे मुल्क को देखना चाहिए, प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब को सोचना चाहिए क्यों मारे जा रहे हैं। इसके लिए खातों का बंदोबस्त करना चाहिए हमारे लिए।
The entire district is terrorized, shaken by Pakistan's unprovoked firing.
Police has not reached here. Nobody. India Today is the first team which reached here, but we are just searching here where the death has, where the house has totally collapsed.
As the Indo-Pak border goes red hot, casualties are mounting, hospitals are overflowing, and ambulances are desperately trying to be on time to ferry the injured. With Ashwini Kumar on the international border in Jammu sector, Bureau Report, India Today.
Ravindra Rana of the BJP is now joining us on the phone line. Mr. Rana, first of all, I want to get a response from you on what the National Conference is saying. It is saying that the protest that was organized by the BJP today in Jammu reeks of hypocrisy because it is the faulty handling of issues with Pakistan by the BJP-PDP government that has led to a situation where the civilians are now dying. Mr. Ravindra Rana, are you there with us?
Yeah. Right now I am on actual line of control, which in your report it was told to the news viewers that on the 5 sector, one of the sectors in Rajouri, that is the Nowshera sector, Kalal sector, I am on the actual line of control, and heavy shelling is going on. And see, many of the people died in this shelling, and many more are injured. Especially, I would say that animals are being targeted by the Pakistani forces. And I am right now on LOC with Army Brigade commanders and Army colonels, and we are all, Jawans are giving befitting reply to all the nefarious designs of Pakistan. But it has led to the very serious situation in the all border areas all along in Jammu and Kashmir on border areas and as well as on LOC. And last night there was a huge shelling in Kalal sector of Nowshera area, which forced the people to take shelter in the in culverts of under the roads. And this is a very serious condition. And I think we have to take some concrete measures to give Pakistan a message that it could understand. Otherwise.
But Mr. Rana, the concrete measures have to be taken by the security forces and the government in power, which is your government in the state and at the centre as well. So the National Conference as well as other opposition parties are saying that you all have failed in your responsibility. So why are you standing and protesting in Jammu?
No, see, I don't know whether who are going to protest, because right now myself is on the LOC and you are the first one who is talking here, because there is no network problem, is there no mobile connectivity is there. I came in the down areas to talk to you, and sooner I have to go back because all these areas are shelling. I don't know what's going in properly Jammu, but as far as in Rajouri, Poonch and Nowshera and Kalal sector, huge heavy firing is going on.
Okay.
And as far as our security forces are concerned, befitting reply are given to all these Pakistani forces, and I assure you there are confirmed reports that 5 of the Pakistani posts are totally demolished in last night firing in Kalal sector in Nowshera jungle area. All these are confirmed reports. Heavy mortar and these artillery guns are being used by the Indian forces. They are being given full orders by the central government to put Pakistan, to report Pakistan what it understands.
Okay, so Ravindra Rana, many thanks for speaking with India today. Ravindra Rana, MLA from the Naushera constituency, is in his area at the moment saying that heavy firing continues over there. This is what is disrupting the lives of the civilians. We have seen 8 casualties as far as civilians are concerned in a span of 6 hours yesterday, and that really is a matter of serious concern. Befitting reply being given by the security forces from India.